Whether you want it or not, I'm ranked number 1, and I will fight for the title.
Watch out, folks, and it's over. Boom, baby.
Попал плотно и сейчас не отпускает. Усман.
Усман успешно застегнул замок, заправил.
Very soon, another Nurmagomedov's family representative, Usman, will fight for the belt in one of the major fighting leagues. On November the 18th at Bellator 288, the unbeaten Dagestani will face an experienced Brazilian veteran in Pitbull Patrick Freire. As we wait for the event to take place, we bring to your attention the full story of Usman Nurmagomedov and his entire MMA journey. Please don't forget about the likes, comments with 4 words and subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Childhood and youth. Usman Nurmagomedov Nurmagomedov was born on April the 17th of 1998 in the city of Kizlyurt. The MMA fighter's nationality is Avar. Already at the young age, the guy was into different kinds of sports. His main focus for quite some time was freestyle wrestling. Usman Nurmagomedov always trained by the side of his brother Umar, who is currently signed and fighting in the world's best league, UFC. After a certain period of time, the guys began to master a completely different discipline, Thai boxing. That's how the untroubled years in the life of the future fighter passed by. During the time that was spent on mastering the technique, he obtained numerous awards and prizes at the local tournaments. After a couple of years, the whole family moved to the capital of Dagestan. At a new place, young guys were taken under the wing of the legendary coach and also their uncle, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. He taught them the foundations of the fighting craft and helped to achieve the level of mastery with which they compete to this very day. Moreover, a significant contribution was also made by the former UFC lightweight champion and Usman's cousin, Khabib Nurmagomedov. He and other active elite fighters were learning the grappling basics and fine-tuning wrestling skills in every possible direction. Mixed martial arts. By the age of 20, Usman Nurmagomedov built a solid foundation. With his knowledge and experience, the young fighter began his professional career. Unfortunately, there are no records on the internet of his debut fight that happened on the 26th of March 2017, but it's known that the Dagestani scored a first-round stoppage win against Imran Abdiev. Usman Nurmagomedov's second professional fight took place in December of 2018 in a rather well-known Russian promotion, Battle on Volga. Back then, he faced the master of sport in hand-to-hand combat and Belarus MMA champion, Dmitry Berezovsky. The fight lasted for 5 minutes, during which the Dagestani one-sidedly outstruck his opponent. He threw a variety of different strikes, from jabs and low kicks to spinning back fists and range attacks. Nurmagomedov spent the last 40 seconds of the first round on a takedown and a consequent finish attempt. Even though Berezovsky was still conscious to continue fighting after these 5 minutes, the fight was eventually stopped due to a severe cut caused by the Dagestani. He won the fight via TKO. Usman Nurmagomedov's next fight took place in the third organization he competed, Brave. He clashed with Issei Moriyama at the 21st tournament that was held in Saudi Arabia. The fight began with fast action in the stand-up. The Dagestani spent some time attacking his opponent with polished combinations. When a couple of combinations made an impact and successfully reached the target, wrestling came into play. As he tightly positioned the Japanese fighter right at the fence, Nurmagomedov began to execute the finishing sequence. After a couple of unanswered shots, the referee stopped the fight. That was the way Usman earned his third professional career win. Young prospect's next fight happened once again, took place on Battle of Volga. His opponent in Niji Romeo at his time had an opportunity to earn a prize place at Pankration and now was looking to break into MMA. The Dagestani decided to start working from the lower level this time. He successfully took his opponent down to the canvas and began to smash his head from the back mount position. But despite such a volume of strikes, the referee didn't stop the fight. Soon, fighters got to their feet, but only for Usman to literally rush at the debutant with a flying knee and take him to the ground one more time. The Dagestani ended this beating with a submission choke at the very end of the first round. The fourth win in a row is earned with no issues. The fifth professional fight of the young fighter happened on May the 3rd of 2019 at Guerrilla Fighting Champion 11. He was up against Brazilian fighter who came back from a 5-year-long layoff with a record of 6-2, Gabriel Baino. The fight as usual started on the feet. Compared to a more aged opponent, Nurmagomedov looked better in every aspect. After a couple of single shots landed, the Dagestani implemented Thai clinch. Strikes were more frequent and efficient from this position. Even though the Brazilian managed to survive the first wave of the upcoming storm, the next one caught up to him very soon. After a while, the fighters clinched one more time, from where the Dagestani fighter landed a couple of heavy shots to the liver, which soon led to a knockdown. After that, Nurmagomedov landed a couple of symbolic strikes and earned his fifth win via stoppage in the first round. On July 28th, Usman Nurmagomedov competed at the 15th GFC tournament. He shared the octagon with the other Russian fighter, Ruslan Hishamutdinov. The Dagestani's sixth professional career fight went the whole distance. Throughout 15 minutes, Nurmagomedov demonstrated the difference in skills both on the ground and in the stand-up. He managed the distance with no issues and, if needed, took his opponent down. Even though fight resulted in a unanimous decision win, the Dagestani dictated the whole course of the fight. He masterfully executed his work and left judges no chance in hesitating who the winner was. The sixth win in a row was successfully earned. Nurmagomedov Junior returned to the octagon 2 months later at GFC 17. He shared the cage with the fighter from Kyrgyzstan, Kazim Kazangirov. First minutes of the fight entertained the fans with a stand-up spectacle. Closer to the middle of the first round, the fight moved to the ground. The Dagestani completely dominated his opponent in that aspect. However, Nurmagomedov couldn't find a finish in the first 5 minutes. Thus, the fight gradually reached the second round. The beginning of the next 5 minutes was rather chaotic. Usman literally ran forward, throwing punches that almost immediately knocked Zakangirov down. The Dagestani spent some time in trying to score the TKO, but in the conclusion, he found an opportunity to finish the fight with a guillotine. It was so deep that the opponent tapped instantly as soon as Nurmagomedov grabbed his neck. Seventh decisive win in a row, but the Dagestani is just taking off. Usman Nurmagomedov's 8th fight happened in September. Within the walls of the local promotion in Abu Dhabi, he faced a promising fighter from Ukraine with a record of 9 wins and 3 losses, Roman Golovanov. The Dagestani shined from a whole different side in this fight. He perfectly handled the pressure from his opponent and put in an outstanding work with counters as a second number. 1.5 minutes later, he himself went forward with a series of a couple of precise shots, sent his opponent to kiss the canvas. He landed a couple of more strikes, masterfully executed the finish, and earned another first-round stoppage win. In February of 2020, the highly promising Dagestani returned to GFC and competed at the 24th tournament. In the co-main of the evening, he faced with another countryman, Ruslan Toyakov, who at that moment was on a 4-fight winning streak, having 4 fights in total. The beginning of the first fight was rather sharp and aggressive. Moreover, Toyakov tried to keep up with his vis-a-vis. He moved forward and tried to catch his opponent with explosive attacks. In the second round, Nurmagomedov implemented his favorite heavy kicks. His opponent tried to survive on the ground, but Usman masterfully stopped his takedown attempt. Soon he pressed his opponent against the fence and ended the fight with a spectacular finish, which earned him his 9th win in a row. The next fight of the Dagestani prospect happened on the 31st of July, 28 days after the passing of legendary coach Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. Despite an unimaginable loss for the whole fighting community and the Nurmagomedov's family in particular, his contribution and legacy should live on. That's why at the end of the month, Usman flew to Arab Emirates again, where he faced a rather experienced fighter from Finland, Jerry Kvarnström. From the very first seconds, the Dagestani took the center of the stage and began to attack. Multiple strike combinations made his opponent to take a step back. As Jerry was pressed against the fence, he soon decided to switch to a lower level, from where Usman Nurmagomedov immediately decided to end the fight. A quick and unanswered finishing sequence made the referee stop the fight and scored the Dagestani his 10th win in a row. In September of the same year, a young and undefeated prospect competed at the collaboration tournament of Fight Night and GFC, dedicated to the memory of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. His opponent happened to be the fighter with a record of 17 wins and 7 losses, Sviatoslav Shabanov. In this fight, Nurmagomedov once again showed his skills in working from the distance. His decent work and precise timing often caused Shabanov problems in the stand-up, but overall the first round was competitive. In the second one, Usman was more persistent with his low kicks. One could see with the naked eye how hard it was for his opponent. Another heavy strike to the leg left the Russian no chances. He literally fell on the ground, not able to resist the upcoming finish. Usman Nurmagomedov dedicated his 11th win to his uncle. First of all, I want to thank my late uncle, because I know that all of that wouldn't have happened. It's all his work. I'll be grateful to him for the rest of my life. Khabib came over to the locker room, calmed me down, admonished me. He said like, I know that you are nervous. Come on, calm down. You have to focus on the fight. This tournament is dedicated to my late uncle. I have to win. And then he left. I put myself together and praised to the Almighty, I won. We began to immediately go over some mistakes he made throughout the fight. These mistakes are always there in the fight, and this proper homework can lead you to a success. You can be a lot more prepared already in the next fights. Path to Bellator. Usman Nurmagomedov's next professional career step was a debut in one of the best fighting organizations, Bellator. His first fight within the new walls happened in April of 2021 at Bellator 255. His opponent was a tough and experienced fighter in Mike Hamill.
Tough guy. I wouldn't say that he have any advantages over me in wrestling or in striking either way. So on Friday night, we'll see. The only thing I can say, he's a little shorter than me. It's not a little discomfort. Everything will be good.
Nurmagomedov was expectedly the favorite prior to this fight, which Hamill explained with his big name.
I assumed I was going to be a big underdog, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm a big underdog because of his name. And it's not something that he's earned yet, it's something that his cousin earned.
Not only Bellator fans, I want to tell all the fans who will be watching, well, just don't because it will be very entertaining fight.
The Dagestani kept his word and showed a really great fight. He perfectly controlled the distance and outstruck his opponent, not leaving him any chances. Attacks were precisely spread between different levels, and each strike took more and more energy from the American. Nurmagomedov was getting more confident from round to round, and with each second acted more freely. The eventual result of such a dominant performance was a 12th win in a row, second of which was via unanimous decision.
Thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, I hope I entertain you with my fight. I hope you enjoy my fight. We will move forward.
The Dagestani's return to the Bellator's cage happened 3 months later at the 263rd tournament in July. This time, the quality of his opposition increased significantly. He was up against the more serious opponent in Manny Muro, who was on a 3-fight winning streak and haven't lost in that organization yet.
Everything is fine. I feel great. I'm happy to be here for my second Bellator fight. I'm still getting used to it for all these cameras, all these interviews, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
How I feel about it is I think Usman's going to have an amazing career. I think he's going to go on to do amazing things in the future. But right now, this is my moment.
For 3.5 minutes of the first round, Usman Nurmagomedov managed to entertain the fans with his decent work on the feet, as well as show his mastery on the ground and in clinch. By the middle of the round, he pressed Muro against the fence and landed a heavy knee to the liver. The American fighter lost his balance because of that. On the ground though, he awaited a cold-blooded finish, which was almost instantly stopped by the referee who had to step in. The 13th win in a row, once again earned via TKO in the first round, and that's at 23.
Yeah, I was planning to finish this fight, but I didn't plan to finish it that early. I was planning to work on the feet a little bit, to take the fight on the ground, to wrestle with him a little bit after finishing, but it is what it is.
The Dagestani's third fight in the big league happened in October at Bellator 269. That was the very tournament when Fedor Emelianenko beat Timothy Johnson via TKO in the first round. Moreover, the 269 event happened to be the first show that the promotion organized in Russia. Nurmagomedov Jr.'s opponent was a fighter with a rather mediocre record of 11 wins and 8 losses, Patrick Piatila.
Feeling very pleased to be back up here, back in the motherland, to fight in the motherland. Just need to get my weight back on track a little bit, and then we should be all set to go.
Yeah, of course, it's like a huge opportunity, but I'm not going there and thinking of his last name. They are all different, and I'm going there only one thing on my mind, to win the fight. It doesn't mean anything to me what his last name is.
Usman Nurmagomedov decided to start the fight off with the ground game. He took Patrick Piatila down with no issues and began to methodically beat him up with sharp elbows. Soon his arsenal was complemented with a ground and pound, but it was only calm before the storm. Soon the Dagestani took his back and started to threaten him with a choke from the back. His opponent resisted for some time, but eventually broke under such pressure and gave up his neck. That's how Usman Nurmagomedov scored his 14th professional career win in a row.
I'm feeling good, great, Alhamdulillah.
Thanking God for this victory, and hopefully everything is going to go the same way.
The last fight in the young Dagestani's career took place on July the 22nd of this year. At Bellator 283, he faced a promising American fighter with a record of 6-1, Christoph Gonzalez. By the time this fight was put together, Nurmagomedov was already ranked number 3 in the lightweight division and was gradually moving towards the title opportunity.
I'm ready. Feeling good. Everything is good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do what I do. Just go out there, be athletic, be patient. Pick my spots. When I'm in, be all the way in. When I'm out, be all the way out. Usman is currently undefeated. He doesn't really have the best resume. I wouldn't say he hasn't really fought too many guys. They've been building him pretty good, but I'm not overlooking him by any means.
The fight began on the feet. First couple of minutes were spent on finding the right distance. Nurmagomedov knocked his opponent down a couple of times with head kicks. After another such strike, Gonzalez rushed forward in an attempt to counterattack, but the Dagestani defended and immediately took him down. The level change was followed by instant submission choke, which earned Usman Nurmagomedov his 15th professional win in a row.
I never try to guess the future. I just go with the flow. I was ready for 3 rounds, but finish is finish. I'm always looking for finishes, and tonight it happened again, and I'm thankful.
Right now, young representative of Nurmagomedov clan, Usman is preparing for his upcoming fight for Bellator Lightweight Championship that will take place on the 18th of November. His record is immaculate. He is 24 years old. He's one of the most talented lightweights in the world. He had 15 fights in 5 years and scored a dominant and spectacular win in every one of them. Just a few years ago, before his debut in the big promotion, he was already called the better version of Khabib Nurmagomedov. And very soon, we will once again see that this guy was called that for a reason. As for now, we wish this young talent success in his future career and luck in his upcoming fight. See you soon.